All right. What's up? You know what? It's funny that it just happened to switch over just on that nice downbeat. Like I wasn't waiting for it or anything. It's
It
just
was
the way that it
perfect.
worked out.
You're a
Yeah,
professional, man.
that's right.
I still hear
I'm.
the printer. It's so funny. It sounds like a printer printing something. Someone's printing.
Yeah, we've got James in the backstage right now.
He's
He's printing his manuscript.
he's handling our backline gear and wardrobe changes.
That's right. He's in the green room doing makeup.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so if suddenly we pause like pod people without speaking, it's because someone in the background is talking to us. It's,
We hear voices.
that's right.
Wow, people are already talking about cue points.
Cue points. Yeah. Well, so this is I think that there's a lot to there's just a lot. It's the topic is massive. It's massive. And we've done music in the past. So I feel like there's some stuff that I haven't talked about. I've got opinions about making music systems. I kind of haven't prepared anything. I tried to put something together, but I didn't have a lot of time. But I have a lot of thoughts.
You
and
have
opinions.
thoughts? No,
I have thoughts-
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, everyone. We got people in the chat. We've got ourselves in the chat. This is great. Yep. Nice.
I'm in the chat with the chatters.
That's right.
That's one of my gifts is talking. So yeah.
We've got pre-chat. Yeah. So Trevor, the streams are saved in the cloud.
Yeah, he has to teach or something tonight. He said.
Yeah. Okay,
teaching the children well.
We got the sound travels. That is that's important. If sound didn't travel, we'd be in trouble.
We'd be in space, bruh.
We'd be in space.
Total vacuum.
Actually, it's not a total vacuum.
Oh my gosh. We're going to get into this?
Nerdy thoughts. It's the density. It just goes down really, really a lot. We're evaporating. The atmosphere is evaporating into space.
I mean, we're all evaporating. Yeah. It's just a matter of time. So make as much music while you can.
That's right. Maybe only 4 billion years left.
Hey, who knows? I want to be on that disc they send to Mars.
just one disc. They're gonna throw it into the
laser disc. Oh my goodness.
Welcome people to the Tech Audio Chat. This has been the Tech Audio Chat. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Where we talk tech and audio.
We do. Sometimes together at the same time.
And lots of other things in between.
It's a little chaotic. It's a little unstructured. But that's because I don't care for the structure in that sense.
Or social media.
Yeah, social media is kind of the worst. And like all of these sort of podcast whatever things have common forms of the ways that they work, and and I have to say stupid stuff like subscribe and like and stuff like that, so that you can feed data into the algorithm and
feed the beast, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's I mean, sometimes some ways you got to play the game, right?
Yeah, you don't want to be don't be too careful. You might start making money.
I don't even think I can make money, to be honest with you. I don't think I'd be moonlighting. So
you're not allowed. I'm allowed
to. Yeah. So, but yeah, if people want to support, if you've got like a heavy wallet, then I've got a link to the Game Audio Diversity Alliance, which is a nonprofit that I work with, I volunteer with. They're really cool. So that's my suggestion. If you want to Otherwise, just pay the thing forward. This is a lot of
Yes,
this is like information
that's
and
right.
trying to reach out to people and communicate. And I think if everyone did that more, it'd be awesome. So
Well, yeah, it's funny that you said that, Dan, because speaking of pay it forward, so one of the earlier comments from Trevor was talking about how he learned quartz clocks from watching my videos.
right.
Well, guess how I learned quartz clock? From watching your videos. um, it's like a lot of, there's not a lot of information about the stuff that we do, and it's so rapidly evolving that there's not a lot of resources out there. So I think being able to pay it forward is always a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I've been interfacing with the Unreal Audio community for like 9.5 years now, and I think one of the things that I'm really proud of is when other people answer questions in the community. Like if there's like a Discord question, and then someone asks a question and it's me not answering, like I'm not answering, I'm like always really happy about that.
Yeah. You know what we should do one time? We should do the top 10 most frequently asked questions about Unreal Audio. I know what number one would be. It's going to have to do with the one-shot interface. my attenuation does not work.
Yeah. We could do that. I think also it could be fun to do like a survey. I think there's a lot of different. I've also thought it could be fun to do. So I really like demo derbies.
What's that?
So at like GDC and Game Sound Con.
Oh yeah.
They'll do like demo derbies where like there'll be a bunch of people and there'll be like a little panel to do a review of some sound design or some music.
That's cool. Yeah,
but they never do technical design. I think it'd be cool. That could be cool someday to do like a technical design demo derby where we've got a bunch of
that would be a good
folks who apply and maybe share their project or something and talk about their approach, and then we critique it and give our feedback.
Yeah, that's
be a fun one.
Pretty good idea. You should hit up the peeps about that.
Yeah, but I think that's something that would need a little planning. Like people would want to they want to know in advance, and we might have to do like a sign up or something like that.
There'd have to be some strict guidelines on how to present also, because that can get real complicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
God, is that you?
James, no one can hear
you. Voices in our head.
I'm bringing you in. If you're gonna start talking, okay.
Bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage James Nixon.
I was trying to give you like stage direction from off in the curtains, off the wings, but yours are like calling me out on stage. So yeah. I was thinking we were talking about what is it, like the Noisevember thing, and how there should be like an equivalent for like audio tech, right? Just like a daily hey, we should make a tool that does this or make a system that does that. Probably not per day, but
that was a discussion that we were having in offline, like off of the thing. But that was something we were talking about would be kind of cool. But that's like one of those things like, I don't know, do you do like a whole, like Air Wiggles has like a whole event built around Noisevember, right?
Yeah.
Or you could just be like, here's some prompts, people have fun, tag the community.
Yeah, you probably have to keep it fairly vague so everyone's not just working on the exact same thing.
I think one of the fun things about this is my understanding of the genesis of something like Noisevember is that it came from Inktober, and Inktober was a daily prompt challenge started by I forget the guy's name, to try to get back into using ink as an artist, like actual ink. Being a digital artist and all that, and sort of like something about ink that is very challenging because it's permanent and messy and stuff like that. Anyway, it sort of evolved from that artist community into various other communities. and intersected like with weird stuff like mermaid.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, and so and like Animtober is one that I've tried to participate in before. Anyway, so Noisevember is kind of spawning off of that thing. But what's interesting about the approach is that it's the prompt list is like vague, right? It's like a verb or a noun, like spooky, you know, and then what do you do with that? And so I think that's like the hard part about the technical direction is like, how do you capture the creativity of the flexibility and creativity of like something that's abstract, but also have like a technical design challenge at the same time.
Yeah.
And Noisevember kind of walks the line there because like some of them are like, you know, rainforest. It's like I don't know what you're like. What do you? I think we know what you want. Like, you know, that's very specific. Like, if you're like, hey, what's the sound of what's the noise of a rainforest?
Burning. It's a burning sound.
Depends.
Burning and heavy machinery. Yeah.
I thought we weren't going to get political.
The pay of paradise.
I never agreed to that. I mean, you pulled me in here.
That's true.
I think your mic's experiencing trouble, James. We're gonna have to mute you.
Oh, I was like, if I'm ticking again, I'm just done. I'm just gonna smoke bomb out of here.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So just beware, James is prone to ticking.
Hopefully not.
I think it's gone now.
It's a new. Well, I switched over to a different interface.
Yeah,
so
good for you.
Yeah,
you passed our first technical challenge.
That's right.
So you said you sabotaged my system just to see if I would figure it out. Yeah,
if you could figure it out.
I had a field recorder, a portable Tascam that developed that sort of ticking thing as over time. It was just like, I think it was some sort of clocking issue, and I just don't use it anymore. I just sort of tossed it.
Yeah. Well, I was using just a shitty webcam, so I should probably do better as an audio person.
Yeah, we can plus it up. Like, you know, don't be afraid. I actually am liking my setup. I don't know how. Do I sound okay?
You sound great.
So there's some bits that are like obviously premium. You know, like I've got the RE20, and I have an RME. But I decided to get because someone was complaining about noise in my videos, and that's like you like I make millions of videos, and then like one person on one video on one comment says the background's noisy. Like, what the hell? And that's all I can think about.
Yeah.
So I bought a DBX 286S mic pre, and it's basically a full chain with like an inline de-esser and a compressor and a gate. And so I've got it all tuned up to try to make sure there's no noise. And I also invested in a mini split system, so I don't have to have fans and in-wall resistance heaters. So I spent a lot of money on this noise problem, and I hope
you could probably do this for a living, Dan. Honestly, you could probably do this for a living. You know, it's so funny though, because I know you have a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. David, who might be joining us later, has a YouTube channel. Sound
James
effects
has a YouTube channel.
James has a YouTube channel. Sound effects guy in the chat room has a YouTube channel. It's so funny because when you're an audio person and you like do this for a living, when you make the YouTube channel, it's like the last thing you want to do is extra work. And so it's like the YouTube audio guys always have like audio issues with their videos, and it's like you always see it in the comments. I think my first like 25 videos comments were like, oh, there's a noise in your video, and if you could just put like a low end filter and roll off about 500, I'm like, you're welcome for the free videos.
You rolled off too much there.
You
rolled off completely for a minute
there for a second.
You're welcome for the free videos, everybody.
Yeah.
People like to complain about free stuff. That's like the if people pay for stuff, they complain less. If people get stuff for free, they complain more. That's what I've discovered in the last 2 years of running a YouTube channel.
This is how we segue into our premium tech audio chat.
That's right. You'd leave us a super chat for $19.99, and you're going to get some free behind the scenes videos.
You know. Oh yeah, see there you go. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny. Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
You know what happens is, like, some of the videos I've made, they're like 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
And then you go back to edit them, and you're like, there's a problem with the audio. You're like, screw that. I'm not re-recording. No way, dude. I'm just popping this out there. People. I think.
Well, this is actually where I think. I mean, Brian, your videos are a lot more together. Also, Sean's videos, the sound effects guy, is a lot more put together videos. Yeah, my videos are not put together. Okay.
Dan's like, hey guys, I've been drinking all day. I'm gonna do something.
Like somewhat like So recently, I just posted a 2-hour video, and that was like I did like 3 false starts with that video, right? And then it was like, fuck it, I'm just rolling through. And someone complained like, oh, you need some ums and just get rid of those L's and stuff. And I was like, hey, that's the price we pay to get the 2-hour video out there.
Mm-hmm. Seriously, I love watching your videos, Dan, though, because it's kind of like you take a 5-minute topic and then you add like 45 minutes of other topics. So by the time you get to, you're like, I've learned 17 other things. And then by the end of the video, you're like, oh yeah, I was going to show you this thing.
Yeah. Honestly, anyone who's maybe if you're not, you don't have experience making videos like polished video content, the shorter, the harder, like the more work it takes.
Oh yeah.
Like that 2-hour video that I did took me maybe 3 hours total.
2 hours and 8 minutes.
2 hours and some time, some change. But a good polished 10-minute video, that's like a week's worth of work. Like,
it's just for sure.
Yeah. Ain't nobody got time for that. Not for free, yo. Free 99.
Yeah.
Anyways. But as an audio person, it almost feels like there is extra pressure. Like if you're a programmer talking about, X, Y, or Z, and you got a bunch of fan noise and your cat's meowing in the background, whatever it is, like no one cares. But I feel like as an audio person, it's like, oh no, this should sound nice. Like I gotta go take out all my pops and my clicks. I gotta RX the crap out of this thing, and yeah.
Good times.
Yep. And false starts, I've probably got about 1,000 of them for every video that I do.
Yeah, the false start one is really frustrating. That's not writing a script, because that's the other thing is like, if you have like a very structured video, you've got a script,
Then you have to act.
There's lines,
Yeah.
Well,
you got tight editing.
I did another one recently, and we were talking about this in like the talk a few weeks ago about like what your approach is, like how you do it. Is there a script? Do you just wing it? And I basically did the thing where I just wing it, and then I edit it down to something that feels like a good representation, and then I just take the audio track and I perform Unreal back to the audio. Like I just use my audio as a guide track, and I just basically narrate myself doing things, and so then you don't have all these like super weird cuts where like your mouse is jumping around the screens and there's cross dissolves and just shit that just looks kind of gross.
That's why you need like the interstitial shot of just you talking, right? Like that's the then it's like that mask.
Oh, like the B-roll, so to speak. Yeah. No one wants to see that.
I mean, it already sounds like a lot of work you just described.
Yeah, but I don't have to worry about lip sync, right?
Yeah.
Like so, having my image on the screen there is not going to help anything. So
you're like,
it could just be an image of you just like
just freeze framed in like a terror pose. Like
this video was sponsored by Grammarly. Do you like to write?
Oh God, yeah. Don't start me on that stuff. Don't start me on that.
On Grammarly?
On any of that? On any of the generative AI stuff?
Oh, the generative AI.
Yeah.
I was just talking about reads, bro. Reads and sponsors, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's a really good segue. When I am thirsty for tea,
Oh yeah,
I get my tea from the Perennial Tea Room, Seattle's premier tea resource.
This has come up before, right? This is consistent. This is like a proper sponsorship. Like
this is.
I know we've talked about this before. Well, I mean, they're not paying you, but like you keep bringing it up.
Yeah.
It's recurring.
Yeah. Here we go. Hold on a second. Where are we? We've got this. Here we go. Perennial Tea Room. The live stream's go-to tea source, located in Post Alley near Pike's Marketplace. This is not an official endorsement. They don't know that I'm doing this, and that's the way it has to be.
you're like me, Dan. When you find something you like, you evangelize it.
I don't know if I. So I will. Here's what I'll say. Is I think it's funny, and that's the reason I do it.
They have delicious teas. I've seen their menu.
Yeah, it's good. I just ordered some new. I just refreshed my my Assam.
Next time in Seattle, I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice little shop. If you just go there, you can get. They've got like, you can just order tea like a cafe also, not just bulk tea.
That's crazy.
Quarter zips and matcha, bro. Quarter zips and matcha.
That's the Seattle way.
That's it.
You need your beanie and your
I'm way too old for that.
your flannel shirt.
Way too old for that.
For a beanie?
For just anything cool. You gotta stay in your lane, bro. You gotta stay in your lane.
We were giving out beanies at the Game Sound Con.
What?
I didn't get one. Oh,
where's my beanie?
Year?
You didn't you didn't get one?
No.
Oh, you should have been there.
I was there.
Because Epic gave us a box of leftover beanies from Unreal Fest Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. Oh, sweet
August,
invite.
Or October, hot. It was like hot in LA, and it was just like Aaron was like forcing beanies on people. He was like going around that little expo space and was like, "Y'all want a beanie?" And it's just, well, I say y'all. He doesn't say that. He's from Michigan, so. But yeah, that was went through a whole box. We must
Glad
have
I got
given out
one.
like 100 beanies.
It would have been nice to have one of those.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Comment on the video if you received a beanie at Game Sound Con. Oh, there goes James.
Oh, we lost James. Get him out. Kick him out of here. Kick him off stage. Get this guy out of here.
Little fly-by-night James Nixon.
Yep.
Yeah. So we
music?
were.
You want to talk about music?
Yeah. So this is a topic that you brought up. And
I did. I bring it up a lot. About. I love music.
And I did try to put something together. James, if you want to come back, let me know. Okay.
Just
yeah. No.
my dinner arrived.
Oh, now we're jealous. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to eat it because, again, no one wants to see that. But
if you want,
as I sit here
dinner,
and
that's okay.
As I sit here and down these wonderful seasonal Lindors,
it's a burrito. If you want to see me just to make a mess of myself,
no, you're getting
and also get the nice close-up shotgun mic perspective of that.
We can send you the backstage while you eat your burrito.
Send that guy. You're like,
no.
I think you're clicking is back. No, that's a burrito. That's James eating a burrito.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I can wait a little while.
Okay. Well,
wait.
I'll just go.
Yeah, that's right. We'll know what you're doing. Cool. Yeah.
Well, we talked about doing like talking about interactive music systems. I think that that is the piece de resistance, right, of video games for artists, for musicians, composers, and it's a skill set, right? It's a different approach. I know for me, working in Unreal has really changed the way I write music.
Yeah.
And has changed the way that I approach music. And there's just not much content out there about it. So I thought it'd be a cool topic to talk about.
Yeah, I think so. I will say, from my perspective, it's a really big topic. And part of the reason I haven't put a lot of, like, I've done little things.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's just, yeah, it's a lot.
Massive. Yeah.
And having like a true demonstration of like a real big, so there's a lot to, like, there's a few classifications. When someone says music system, what do they mean? Like, for example, I could make a interactive music cue in Metasounds in like an afternoon or a day or something like that, right? I could implement the interactivity in a Metasound.
Yeah.
But making a system that supports...
That drives it, yeah.
Right, so like a system where the interactivity or the behavior that I put in the Metasound is something that's a little bit more general purpose, such that people could swap out the music stems with other music stems. Like that becomes a little bit more consideration. But then you also have music systems as in like music managers, right? So like
sure, yeah,
you know, right? So like you have gameplay happening, and then it's like, oh, they walked into the tundra land or something, and now we got to start playing this music, or
right? Yeah,
5 o'clock p.m. in the game, and so now this music starts playing, and then you have like cue contention where it's like, you know, a music cue is playing, but now they're entering some instance dungeon or something, and now you got to override the current playing music cue with some new music cue, right?
Yep.
And so it can get really deep, and it can get really project specific, and so then you weigh against the idea of building out systems that work for the specifics of your project versus building out systems that are like maybe a general purpose music interactivity system for licensing. Like maybe it's something you're bringing to like customers, and they're expected to sort of take this and build off of it or utilize it as is.
Yeah, there's certainly not a one size fits all. And I think for a lot of people it's such a big thing that even tackling it is a massive stressor, right? And even figuring out, you know, how to lay it out and the things to consider. And for a lot of composers who are trying to get in the gaming world, you know, you could really, you know, you said something, Dan, I think it was last week on LinkedIn. You said something in one of your posts that really, I really connected with, because it's been my philosophy as well. But you talked about, and it might have been in a Discord server, correct me if I'm wrong, but you talked about if you are an audio person, you know, stop looking at yourself as an audio person and start looking at yourself as a developer, you know, as a person, a coder, a game developer. And that's one of those things that, you know, I think is extremely valuable, because I think audio people think that, you know, it's like this small little world of audio. And I think that's where the stressor comes in. When you start to understand the whole engine, right? For us, Unreal, but other engines as well. But when you start to understand the nooks and crannies of how the games work, you start to especially for audio people, like if you're an audio person in Unreal, you've got to know blueprints, right? You've got to know blueprints at the minimum. But when you start learning those things, it really opens up these ideas for what you can do, the things that you can dream of. And as a music composer, as an audio person, it really changes how you approach things, right? And it's in a really good way. So do you remember saying something about that?
Yeah, well, I said, so that was something that was part of my Unreal Audio Essentials abridged presentation. But I have said, I mean, I've probably said it like 1,000 times. So it's definitely something that I bring up a lot, and it is useful. Obviously, if you want to engage with and learn more about Unreal Audio, because Unreal Audio is not developed in a vacuum. It's developed. The features are developed in the context of the
whole system.
Engine.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of general purpose systems that are in Unreal, like blueprints, as you mentioned before, that don't have a domain specificity. It's just a space where people create logic, and execute.
It's code.
And so
it's coding.
and so this but one of the other things that I was going to bring up tonight is like chooser tables. Chooser tables is a new thing from the animation.
We're using those in our game.
Yeah,
love them. They're awesome.
And it's like the chooser tables don't have a horse in the race for domains. Like if you're an audio person, if you're a VFX artist, if you're
anyone can use them.
Anyone could use them.
I mean, I think they originally designed mostly for animation, I think, right? But it became quickly apparent that like anyone can use this for just about anything you want. So
and that's a common occurrence in Unreal Engine dev, and that's because the editor team is actually pretty small, and so what happens is individual teams like the audio team or the VFX team, they will think about a problem that they have, and they'll try to resolve it. A lot of the teams in development have a lot of autonomy over the vision of the product that they're creating, and so like for example, AI made State Tree, and then what happened was people were like, "Wow, State Tree is really rad. Like, can we just have State Tree like for everyone else?"
Yep.
And so it was the same with chooser tables. Like, it was like people are like, they're like a presentation on chooser tables, and you're like, "What?
Yeah,
that's so cool. Can we have that?" And then the work is, they do the work. They have to do the work to make it general purpose, and sometimes it's guided, and you collaborate with teams and stuff like. But that is often the case. Like if you look at Niagara is kind of amazing. Like it is almost its own blueprint.
Software.
Like it's so robust that you could do a lot of stuff that isn't VFX in Niagara, and so it can come down to like if enough people are like, hey. But this is also, by the way, why sometimes you'll see redundancies. Like, for example, the graphics folks had come up with a global parameter system. I forget what they're called. And the audio engine dev had come up with audio modulation, which is the global parameter system.
Same thing, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And they're basically the same thing with like some exceptions. And one of the nuances is like, as audio people, we were informed by audio. What happened?
You froze.
You can still hear me?
I can hear you.
We hear you fine, but you have been frozen in time.
That's okay. Well, that's good because aging was getting tedious. Let me try reconnecting my camera here.
So, James, just me and you now.
Yeah. Finally.
What do you think of Dan?
He's all right, I guess, but
Well, as we wait for him, any composers in the chat room? Hit us up if you're a composer or a musician.
Brian, do you bill yourself as a composer?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably my main
thing.
Talent.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I wrote a lot of music for television before I got into games.
Oh, nice.
Aging was getting tedious. And it's like Steven, I think Steven said earlier, composed until you decompose. Dan's got a lot of trust in us, man. He just left his stream, and now on his channel, we can say pretty much whatever we want.
I assume he can get back in on his own. Like, we don't have to
let him in.
Let him in or anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
We've got a couple. We got Steve. Steve in the chat room's a composer. Sweet.
Steve.
I've noticed that a lot of audio people are composers. I think there's a natural progression of being a musician, getting into audio and sound design. I mean, I don't know many sound designers that aren't musicians. Honest, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do, James.
Yeah, no, I have a musical background. I don't call myself a composer because I don't feel like that skill set is, honed enough to do it on a professional level. But I write music for fun mostly.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
But oh no, You froze.
That's awesome.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Cool. Well, we'll give. Oh, I'm frozen.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna jump on Discord and see if Dan is coming in.
Yeah, I got it open.
Cool.
No Dan yet.
Okay. Cool.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we were talking about just the technical challenges of designing music systems, and I think part of the challenge is, as in the old school, like if you think about where games came from, it was like a 4-bar loop or an 8-bar loop was all you got, right?
Yep.
You got a menu that just repeated indefinitely, and then we started getting a little bit more ability to do linear stuff where you jump to a bridge or you jump to a chorus or you repeat a certain section of the song. And then then we get into this world, the James Nixon show.
That's my plan. I'm just knocking them off one by one.
And then you get into like this vertical and horizontal thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you've got for a musician, you've got vertical editing, right? Jumping from different sections of different songs, and then you've got the horizontal arrangement of stems, okay, this time we have a string patch, or this time we have a flute solo, or this time, so we're getting exponential variations of music, right? Which is at its core very basic, right? So I think most people, anybody that's used Wise or middleware or even I think basic Unreal Engine audio could probably piece together some sort of interactive system that has those things, right?
Yeah.
There's Dan.
Well,
he's back.
In different combinations as well, right? Because even in the context of a single game, you might have your exploration music being more of kind of like a jukebox style, just playing on kind of linear pieces, and then you might have a really complicated like combat system that's just gonna, be very interactive, multi-layered, doing all the heavy lifting and. And
then even take that a step further, and you're building some sort of like generative system that's creating its own melodies and and doing
based
all of
gameplay.
This other stuff, so you like literally never hear the same thing twice. Dan, we see your
I hear you.
My camera died. It just died.
Oh no!
Wow. That's a pretty handsome picture there.
Thanks. Yeah, I drew that.
It's funny. It's almost exactly the look on your face when you froze as well. Like if you wind back the video, I think it's pretty much like just the animated version.
Way less beard.
Yeah, a little trim to beard, but yeah.
Well, Dan, while you left, we were talking about kind of like conceptually the different kind of basic music systems. The linear systems where it's you're just changing songs. And then the horizontal where you're bringing in stems, and then all the way to like doing generative stuff where you're, creating melodies based on randomness and procedural stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that, I think that all depends on your project and what makes most sense for your project.
Yeah.
There are, like procedural design can get really, really deep. And so you can have lightweight procedural design. You can have like heavyweight procedural design. There's also other layers to management that are design oriented. Like for example, having like sometimes this ask comes up sometimes. I try to push back on it whenever I can.
You like to push back on stuff.
It's like, we want the queues to start the same for every client in like a multiplayer game, right? And it's and like like
replicated music,
replicating the queue start, and then maybe even like the random selection of
that's some huge unnecessary.
Yeah, is that based on like them wanting some sort of like group play where you're all playing the same song together type of thing?
No, I mean it's more like, I think it's just more like trying to create a shared experience across. It's one of those things. Sometimes it's a fun artifact of the fact that most audio logic happens on the client, where like people playing multiplayer, like they've got, whatever maybe they're in Discord or something like that, on a chat or something, and they're playing together, and then some bark will come out like, fire in the hole, and then someone else was like, don't go down there, and someone gets like the rare cool
right. Someone laughs, and you're like, what are you laughing at? It's like
what are you laughing at?
That's the lamest line I've ever heard.
So I think part of it is that that kind of thing, that having a shared experience sort of drives that. But it is a really complicated thing when you think about the massive amounts of latency that can occur between.
Oh yeah, that would be a nightmare.
Clients.
Yeah.
Well, and the question too, I mean, unless it's a music game, is there any purpose? It's like, oh, you got an A in your melody, and I got an F sharp. I feel cheated.
Well, one of the things that can come up is music state tracked by the world versus music state that's client oriented. Like, for example, you could be in a multiplayer sandbox game, and you could have one player is over in this corner of the map, and they've engaged in combat, right? And so you want to present
fighting
combat.
Epic music,
right? You want to give them some combat music, that or something that is associated with that state, and then the other person doesn't. You don't need to give them. You don't want them to have.
No, they're like
music,
exploring
right?
flowers,
right?
Yeah. They'll be like, "What's going on? Is there like
they're
an
like
enemy nearby?" And so
I'm sipping water over here.
But like, for example, if you've got, say, a mini boss in a level, right, and the mini boss state, like health state, maybe is linked to the play state or the stages of some sort of interactive music cue, then you do want that to be shared, right? Because that's information that is shared in both clients.
Yeah.
And that could still be driven by the client.
Yeah.
Like, where, in other words, the information or the data that is getting replicated is like the health or something of the mini boss. But yeah, so it's interesting to sort of think about music state in terms of the world state or something that's shared state versus the client specific state or the player specific state.
Well, and I think part of the conversation, I mean, a huge important piece of the conversation is that the concept, right? Like, what is this game about? How does it work? What's important? Because before you write a note of music, you have to know how it's going to work, right? Like what role is music going to play in this, and how is it going to work? Like how is what states are there going to be? Do they change quickly? Do they change not quickly? Are there exploration type things? Is there a ton of combat? If there's a ton of combat, then do we need explore music, or is it just going to be wall to wall music? There's all these big questions that got to be answered so that you can kind of approach the system like from an efficient standpoint. There's nothing worse than doing hours and hours and hours of work that you don't need, right?
I'll add to that list. How quickly can we go back and forth between states? It's like a big one. It's like how do I not make this just be like, I'm in combat, I'm out of combat, I'm in town, I'm out of town,
and how do you make that not wonky, right?
Right, exactly. And that, I feel like that's one of the harder problems to solve, honestly. Like,
it's just like film, right? Like, writing film music is easy. Knowing where to put it is incredibly difficult.
Yeah. So here's I just want to, one thing that I think I would like to tag on what you were saying, Brian, the idea that you want, like, so I agree that the compositional process and subsequently the recording process needs to be informed by the design implementation, right? So, but I think that there's a pre-production stage, if you have the resources, to allow some dialogue in terms of the specifics of the design, where like a composer could sit down and sketch out ideas for interaction. Right. And then those could be part of the design, exploration process, where, okay, yeah, we like the idea of these maybe separating the textures in this way, or that sort of, or like, yeah, it would be great to acknowledge these sorts of moments, with music. And so I think that there's an opportunity really early in the process for composers and the music designers to sort of connect and come up with some really cool ideas.
Yeah.
Because I think that what happens a lot, I've observed, composers being dictated to in terms of the musical structures, where it's like, okay, we need 4 intensity layers, and they have to be additive, and then what we want to deliver specifically 32 bar loops, and all this sort of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it can get really like formulaic, and I feel like there's, if you can, and that's obviously sometimes not possible. Like, for example, if you've got a project that's already established some of these structures, and doing something deviation from that would be like a lot of extra work. But I feel like there's an opportunity to create some really musical expressions of the gameplay interactivity by going through this sort of prototyping process.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, as a composer, I have found that the more boundaries I have, the better I write. And the hardest thing to do is, to me, like, okay, I need you to score a open world high fantasy game. Okay, what are my boundaries? No boundaries, just give us something great. It's like, that is impossible, as opposed to, here's how our music system works, here are the moods, here are the themes, here are some of the things and then it's like, okay, I see. We're narrowing it down now, which makes the process a little more lean, right? And a little bit more efficient, and maybe, hopefully, less revisions, right? When I send you the track that I think I nailed, and you're like, that is not at all what we're trying to accomplish.
The revision, so I agree. So having attempted a like freelance composition career, I understand the revision process is like that's like a really messy, sticky area. But one of the things that I've been very fortunate, working at a company like Epic that has a lot more resources than some of the people that contracted me back in the day, is that you can pay for pre-production. You can
Absolutely.
pay for the time to do the work. And it's like, how we'll pay for let's pay for every revision. Like, revise all day. Let's try things out. And I feel like I feel like maybe. Let me pose this to you, Brian, because like, what if I came to you and I was like, hey, here's my high fantasy game. Here's some settings, concept art, maybe a mood board, and some ideas that we have around interactivity, but it's loose, and we want to hear your ideas too. Like, do you feel like that's too?
No, that's ideal. I think the creative freedom is great. I think where the challenge comes is, you go, hey, we need 3 boss fights, right? We got 3 huge bosses. They're going to be massive, Elden Ring, huge, badass stuff, right? And so I'm like, all right, I got you. I'm thinking Hans Zimmer, and I make this killer track, and it's killer, and you play it, and you're like, this is amazing. But then you realize that boss fight lasts 9 minutes, and it's like, this, what I gave you doesn't work for 9 minutes. So it's like, okay, so now this is where we get into the heart of this discussion, is like, how can we kind of dissect this at the beginning so that we know, hey, all right, here's a boss fight. Here's what's going to happen. It's probably going to be about 8 to 12 minutes to kill this guy. There's going to be a couple stages. And then it's like, oh, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to give you this big epic thing, but there's going to be an epic version with strings, and then there's going to be a breakdown, and then there's going to be an epic version with horns, same chord progression or whatever. And so it's like, it gets you thinking differently. And then as a composer, you're able to go, all right, here, I'm not only going to deliver this 6-minute piece of music, I'm going to deliver this Lego kit to you so that now you can stretch this, especially if, and this is why I stress so deeply for composers. If you're serious about composing for games, you should start learning the Unreal Engine in your free time for fun. For one, it's very inspiring. But when you start kind of seeing how it can piece together, then it's like, hey, you can use these 8 or 9 stems over either of these sections, and they work great. You know, and so now the audio person, the implementer, the technical designer, they've got a whole palette they can use that achieves my idea as a composer, but delivers ultimately the story that the game needs to tell. And we can do that in a month instead of 8 months, you know, with live strings, you know, and live horns and all this stuff, because the scariest thing is paying $12,000 to have an orchestra record 8 minutes of music. You know, and it's like, if you're going to do that, you better make sure that when you leave that session, you have everything you need. Because
and that's budget. Those are budget rates.
I know that's cheap, right? That's me flying to freaking Bratislava. So there's this whole, as a composer, you know, it's to me, I love knowing, hey, this is how it's going to work, because then I can give more to the process. And also, honestly, you do compose differently, right? You do approach things differently when you know how the system's going to work. If you just said, hey, we're going to have 9 tracks and they're just going to loop or they're just going to repeat, then okay, yeah, that's a whole different game.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, that 8-minute boss fight might be typical, but then, you know, once people are kind of good at it, they can do it in 6 minutes now. Right? Now, does your music kind of collapse to support that, right? Like, or does it get kind of weird and, you know, have to transition it at odd moments and things? So,
you know, one of the things that I did a lot when I was freelancing, because a lot of the stuff that I was working on was very indie, very like little levels and little scenes and stuff like that. Was I would often try to fill 50% of the time. Like, it was like, if it loops twice, then it was okay with me, you know? So
Yeah.
And that one it felt like it worked. But a lot of the times when I was asked for long cues on reflection in actual, because like back then, this is the other thing, is like back then, I wasn't getting a build, right? It was just like, I get like a screenshot, you know, of like the level,
green screen
or something like that. And so
pretend there's a huge dragon
I don't actually
here.
know the gameplay, but oftentimes when someone was asking for like a 4-minute cue or something like that, I actually should have delivered like a handful of 30-second cues. Because the moments, otherwise, then it just becomes like this wallpaper, right? And the moments aren't really properly acknowledged.
No, there's a whole different approach to it, right? There's a whole different approach to the way game music works. And it's like, you know, a project I'm working on now, it's like you can fight someone for 8 seconds, or you can fight someone for, you know, 2 minutes. And no one knows which one's going to be, right? So how do you approach that? And like James mentioned, it's like, okay, what do you just have an experience where, what if you fight someone for 8 seconds every 20 seconds?
Right.
You know, and then it's like, you're going from nothing to like, and then back to a stinger. And it's like, so then it's like, you have to holistically evaluate the whole game and go, you know, what, you know, how are we going to approach this? Because this doesn't work, you know, or this is, that, you know, we've got to think outside of the box with this.
Well, one thing that I like, one technique that I like to use a lot is sort of like a fast rise and slow release. Like if you think of like attack and release times,
and quickly, out slowly.
Yeah, exactly. And what I forget which, this is a GDC talk from long time ago, back when everything was in sepia, and it was someone, I forget exactly which project it was. Maybe it was Dead Space. They were talking about like how the heart will kick in really fast, but like it takes a while to slow down.
Yeah.
And so there's like a very organic, natural aspect to having music that can kick up the intensity really fast, but then allowing the intensity to sort of slowly taper out over time. And when you've got something where you're like, oh yeah, you're going into combat every 30 seconds, that's one of those situations where like it's kind of like going into this attack and release idea, like compression, where it's like your compression's pumping, or you've got like this slow release that accounts for all these events. And then when the events start spacing out and you go, now it's every minute, or it's like now it's 5 minutes before we get another one, then the music can sort of slow down again.
Yeah, I mean you can also, if like Brian was saying, right, if like every time you come across an enemy and here come the big like we're building up this big tension, even though it's going to be over in 3 seconds, right, 8 seconds, whatever it is, it's like, okay, maybe I need to go back to the drawing board of how I approach my combat music. Maybe jumping straight into it with the big, big bombastic thing is not the way I do it. Maybe I need to kind of ease into it more. And then the other side of that is, I think you can set yourself some thresholds to say, you know what, if it's a guy I'm going to kill in 3 seconds, don't even bother with combat music. It's like he's obviously not a threat, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's the technical challenge, right? Is figuring out. Figuring that out, and in multiplayer it's even crazier, because what if your buddy's fighting someone and you can kind of see them but you're not really in the fight? It's like, what do you need to listen to at that point? What should you be hearing at that point? Should you be hearing that music, or should you be hearing nothing, right? So it's like it's this constant battle of figuring out the nuances to make the thing work, because at that point it's not even about the music, it's about spotting the music.
Right. I mean, I've been down that road, right? It's like, what is the rule set for, I'm not in combat, but my multiplayer friend is.
Yeah.
Right? How, am I close enough to care? Do I know they're in combat? Is it going to be weird if I can't see them? Yeah. My combat music just goes on and I'm like, I don't see anyone around me.
I'll tell you what you need. What you need is the like watching my friend die music. That's the music.
That is so morbid, Dan.
And just like everything washes out into reverb, and you've got this
little Samuel Barber kind of
Tarantino movie all of a sudden.
And then like all the voice chats become real washy and reverb, and the friends are like, "Why aren't you fighting?" Like
slow motion.
Like, help me out.
We were friends from the beginning.
But I think it's. I'm joking, but like that's also one of those parts of music design that is really difficult, especially in multiplayer, to capture these. What we would otherwise call cinematic moments, where you have this sort of like deep connection to the emotional context of the scene and what's happening. And that's, I think, probably maybe the most challenging thing in game music.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the same for film, man. Like, the hardest thing is figuring out where the music isn't.
Yeah.
Man, it's good conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
I do, Dan. I don't know if I have a little demo I can show.
Yeah. I also have a diagram I can show.
Okay, cool. Why don't you show your diagram first, and then I'll show my little demo.
So make up for the awkwardness of having a dysfunctional camera.
The picture looks great, though. Did you really draw that?
Yes.
But that's impressive.
Thanks. The background, it's kind of hard to see, is actually hand painted.
Wow.
And then I drew this, and then I did like digital coloring in Photoshop.
You're such an artiste.
Thank you. Okay, so here's
Can you go full screen? Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah. So I think I can go full screen here as well. There we go. So this is like a loose concept that I have for a music manager. I find myself sort of returning a lot to designs similar to this. And the way that it works is you have a sort of central system. Oops, can I zoom in? Hold on. Control zoom? There we go. You have sort of a central system that is like your high-level manager. And this system is managing queue priority. Okay, and so it will hold. It might hold state. It might not. But its objective is to manage queue priority. And then we have an active music player as an instance, a new object instance. And the high-level manager sends to the active music player. So the active music player is actually playing the music queue. Right?
Yeah, it'd be like the meta sound or the wave player.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the active music player is receiving input data into the meta sound, like say like intensity level, emotional level, and state data, right? Yeah. So like trigger combat,
explore,
exactly. And then the whatever is part of your music queue design, because that's something we can talk about, is like you can have a single music queue that spans multiple gameplay states, or you could have separate music cues that are responsible for each of the states individually, right?
Yeah.
And those all sort of required a slightly different approach. And then the active music player is feeding back to the high-level manager music data and clock state. So in other words, it's communicating back. This is the state of my like music clock. Maybe that's information that's really important. For example, if you have music, if you have some sort of callback, right, to the gameplay that's or the state manager that says, okay, this transition is done.
Like we just fired a stinger. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's, and then over here, we have what I call a data processor on here. Sometimes on other systems, I've done like data aggregation, but this is basically an object that receives and processes data from gameplay. So there's, could be all different, like for example, maybe
an async gameplay queue or something.
Like like the AI system is like, hey, you've got aggro on the player now. Or it's like your player is in this biome, or the player is in this elevation or something like that. These kinds of things that influence how you select a music cue, and what kind of state maybe is it needs to be activated. And so one of the things that I like is making this a separate object so that it's extensible and you can so like for example, one of the things that is a real challenge in building systems is when working on a live service project is that you're like, okay, well, this system has to be serviceable or extensible 6 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. And so you need to sort of think very abstractly, but try to find the boundaries that encompass your project's needs. And then I have over here playlist. I sometimes call playlist as just cues and conditions. And so this is just like, hey, here's a list of cues for this. Maybe maybe it's like maybe it's for the whole project or experience. Maybe it's you could have like a playlist that gets swapped out or gets added in because it's like holiday theme, for like 5 days or something like that. So a playlist or
that could be a data table, or chooser table.
Yeah, it's like a data table or a chooser table that has a list of your cues and expresses the logic and the priority and how you select the cue to play.
That you can update by only checking out one file.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And then some kind of gameplay API that interacts and controls the music system's sort of play state.
Give me a little more information on that, Dan.
Yeah, that could be like, activate the music system, or it could be like, it could be that certain types of state is conveyed here, or it could just be like play a music cue.
Yeah,
and then it selects one based on
Gotcha.
Right, Or it could be like, I need a stinger, select the correct stinger.
Yeah.
So using interface here is the actual kind of Unreal definition of interface, not like a more general use of the term, right?
Well, I guess, I mean, it
like a blueprint interface, for example.
Like a blueprint. Well, so yeah, it could be like this, like an API, right? So a blueprint interface. This is actually a blueprint interface is functionally the same as a coding interface, a code interface. So that the blueprints. What's really interesting about blueprints is that it's basically a full-featured programming language, and all of its things like interfaces, structs, classes, enums are directly translatable to C++, just as like a programming language. And so, and there are common patterns in object-oriented programming in general beyond C. So I would actually say interface I'm using as a general as a general purpose thing. This, chooser tables is definitely something from Unreal.
Yeah,
but like this, you could build this in Unity. You could build this. You could custom roll your own thing. And this, the other thing is like this, you could be using Wise with this, right? Because the like active music player would actually be the Wise interactions, right? That's where you're actually getting you're communicating what cue to play, and then you're getting callbacks from that, and you're setting state between the manager and the. So this could be Wise, or it could be your Fmod, or it could just be something you roll custom on your own. So, yeah. So I thought this was. I just want to jot this down because we've covered a lot of stuff in this, like for queue state management, like in inter queue state management. Yeah. We haven't really talked about like high level management so far on the stream. So yeah, just want to share that.
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I did a video a couple months ago about using the game state as a way to manage the music, and it echoes a lot of what you just showed as far as like just having a central source to communicate with the game, from the game to the music, from the music back to the game.
One of the things that comes up a lot is like, especially on a lot like today's version of a live service game, you've got diegetic music, you've got incidental music, you have emotes and like player expressions and stuff, like it's weird stingers because something like you found the treasure chest or whatever. So like all this sort of music is happening, and you want to figure out how do you manage that. Some of it is going to be mix related stuff, right? And some of it is going to be managed in this kind of way as well.
That's good. Cool. Well, I can show my little thing.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. Entire screen. Let's do this with audio. Let me know if you can see this.
Yep.
Cool. So I built this. Actually, I think this is in 5.2. Actually, Dan.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
I was hearing ourselves.
Are we?
Yeah, I'm hearing Dan twice. Oh, and me.
Here, hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Can we? I just want.
You know why? Because it's probably coming through the audio. Yeah.
I'm just gonna mute it real second.
Let me stop this real quick.
So, if you've got like an RME or something like that, if you can set your playback, like your audio setting playback to your headphones, on a separate set of channels than your device output. So, like for example, I've got my output going directly to my headphone channels.
Oh yeah.
So when I hear you, it's coming on a separate channel than my like normal desktop output.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, for now, me and Dan can just shut up.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
we can also mute if
All right.
we can't.
So I don't. So here's what I'll do. So I don't think I can. I don't think I'm equipped to do that. So what I'll do is I'll do a little.
Okay.
I'll do a little setup here while you guys have audio, and then I'll do a little run through, and then I'll come back to live so we can talk about it. Cool. So basically, this is an example. This is a music system I built when I was first starting building an Unreal Engine, and it's funny because it goes back to our first conversation, Dan. It's like this has a lot more to do about just the engine itself and how to manage things. But so what it is it's I just asked this simple question. I'm like, how can the height of my player, like the z-axis of the location of my player, change the intensity of music quickly and smoothly with very little lagging, right? Like almost instantaneous changing. And so I wanted to build this music system that followed the player's height. And so in this little demo, as the player walks up the stairs, the music gets more and more intense, right? And then when you get to the very height, it gets the most intense. And then when you come back down, it goes back to its static. It's a spaghetti Western track because I was inspired by the old world that Epic Games released a few years ago, the Western world, super cool stuff. So I wanted to do like a Morricone type thing. So it's just like this Western track. But then what I did is I sampled a banjo and I took all the 12 chromatic notes. And so the banjo track that you hear is being procedurally generated randomly. So you'll hear random melodies based from the meta sound. So you'll hear a minor scale. And as you go up, the banjo increases in intensity, but it's being generated procedurally. So I'll play through a little bit of it, and then we can walk through the meta sound. That cool. Good?
Yeah, and we'll be quiet while you play through.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go entire screen. And no, let me try that one more time. This time I didn't share audio. Oh. Okay. Here we go. Let me try that again. I swear I'm a professional. All right, here we go. All right, with audio. All right, here we go. Tell me if you can just hear this real quick.
Full screen?
Hear that? Okay, cool. Perfect. All right, so here we go. We'll go full screen. So we got the spaghetti Western track just playing. I'm chilling around. I'm going to go up these stairs. You'll see this top left, this print string, if you can see it. It is the height of the player. So when I jump, it goes up. So you hear the strings, hear the percussion kind of come in. Now it's gone. Getting a little more intense. We're going to go up these steps and it's going to get more intense. If you listen to the banjo part, the banjo is really fiddling around now. Let's go back downstairs for a second. So the banjo is right now just kind of like hitting down beats. Let's go back up. Oh, and he falls back down. Let's go back up the steps. Also, if you'll notice, the stems are kind of randomly the melodies are changing a little bit. All right, then we're back intense a little bit. We're gonna go up to the more intense part. Listen to the strings. Then we're going to go up here. And we're going to jump back down. So it's a pretty, So it's a pretty interactive as far as the music changing pretty much instantly. Let me share my screen again, except this time without audio, so we can walk through the meta sounds.
Yeah, that was cool. That sounded great.
Yeah, it's cool. Brian, I mean, are you relying entirely on basically just kind of like stem mixing here, or is there actually like some I don't know, like train car elements that are swapping out?
Yeah, so there is. What do you mean by train car? I've never heard that term before.
Oh, like, if you take your 32 bar piece of music and you break into 4 bar sections, right? Where you can have like, so here's, section 1 basics, section 1 with percussion, section 1 with, basically like, so you could say like, all right, now I'm at 20 feet in the air, so next time you get to a new piece, give me the section that's higher intensity, right?
So let me show you. So I have this is all operating off one meta sound, and here it is. This is the meta sound. So down here is the banjo, and this is basically what I've done is I've created these voices, right? And if I hit play here, you'll see, you won't hear it, but you'll see that these are all firing 16th note gates, but they're not open yet. So the gates aren't open yet. And then each of these gates are triggering a note based off of some sort of random note. And these are all banjo samples, actually. If you go over here, you'll see all my samples. I sampled literally an octave of just like single note banjos. But the way the music works is we've got our meta sound. We've got a little riser that kicks off. And then over here, I've got 4 intensity levels. And these are being fed by a timeline, actually, inside of the main level. So I'm getting the character height, and then I'm clamping it, right? Based on basically how low and how high it can go. And then I'm using a timeline, which is pretty cool. Timelines are pretty effective to feed meta sounds because you can completely customize them. But as I go high, it's playing this timeline and it's sending these input levels to the meta sound. And the meta sound are here. Actually, let me share my sound again so I can play a little bit of what the music sounds like when I adjust these levels. So let's go here. All right, so if I go here, here's our meta sound. This is just a basic, to answer your question, this is a basic, we've got a baritone track that's pulling from these 4 different arrays. And so at any point you might get this one. You might get this guy here. So I recorded all these separately. And again, this is kind of like the composer approach, is like knowing that I need some different stems. They're subtle, but they're different variations of a live baritone guitar. And then I've got these other tracks. I've got strings, I've got a tension string, I've got percussion, and I've got lead instruments. And all these 3 instruments are going to have 4 different levels, right? And this is being fed by the timeline adjusting these levels. So if I hit play here and I come over here and I feed these levels, here's what level 1 sounds like. You hear a little bit of the ostinato strings. Here's what level 2 sounds like. A little more percussion, a little more strings. And then level 3, the strings staccato has a more movement, there's more stems. And then level 4 is crazy, heavy percussion, more string patches. And then these crossfade, the important part of this was crossfading them. So as level 1 goes down, level 2 goes up. And as level 2 goes down, level 3 goes up based on the player height. And this is by using the timeline. And then the way the banjo works is we've got this, basically these triggers. When I hit play, these triggers are firing. And then I've got a probability, which is how often this pattern will cycle. So will you hear the pattern or will you not hear the pattern? And then I have downbeat, and this is kind of cool here. So we've got a downbeat probability. This is the downbeat probability. So you'll always hear the banjo on the downbeat. And then here we got a weak beat probability. Let's bring this up. And then we got a 16th note probability. So the probability is also goes up as the player gets higher. So as the player altitude increases, the probability of those notes, we've got let's see, 8 notes, eighth notes playing, and it increases the probability. So when you're at the maximum peak, the probability is at maximum. So you hear more banjo, you hear more strings, you hear. And what's cool with you could check technically, I've got it set on minor scale right now, natural minor, but you could change that to major if you want. Some of the stems are in minor, so it wouldn't work. Right. But yeah, so like I did this whole thing in like 2 days, right? So like this isn't complicated, but knowing I built the system before I wrote the music, right? I built the system. I was like, okay, this is how the system's gonna work, and this is the stuff that I need to make that work.
Sure.
Yeah, but I feel like even you could have sketches that come up with the ideas for the implementation. Like you could be like, oh, it'd be cool to have this sort of atmospheric banjo that gets more intense.
Yeah, and I did that actually. I just took like a piano and basically let me make a couple stems with piano and see if this works.
Yeah.
And then once it works, you're like, okay, now let's record banjo samples.
Because I think that's one of the things that happens when I feel like maybe the not necessarily the beginner, but like the intermediate sort of zone. I make this mistake sometimes still too, to this day, which is like building the system, because I like my mind is like, okay, I have this idea for the system, and then I start working on the system without having any audio to inform the process. So it can get dangerous, and I feel like it's especially when you're working on a production where money is involved. I think there's a lot of value in spending a little bit of time on pre-production.
Well, I think there's a ton of value. I mean, honestly, I think the last step should be polish, right? The last step should be going into the studio. And nowadays with technology, like it's so easy to do a mock-up, right? Yeah. It's so easy to go, okay, here's what the strings would be like. And you're like, this is amazing. This works. Okay, now let's go to Abbey Road.
Yeah. Well, even if you're prototyping the system, like you've probably got enough material just lying around where you can cobble something together just as a proof of concept. Not to say as like this is going to be like a deliverable product for the end of the game, but you can say, okay, I could see if I break my deliverables down into needing these stems and these elements and arranging them in this way. I'm gonna get enough variety out of my system. And now we can.
The more you do it, right? The more you do it, the more you can conceptualize it and like, hey, I know this is gonna work because it's worked before, or it has, and I think that's why, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but this is why composers should learn Unreal Engine, because for one, it's free. You can download it right now, go home and just mess around with this stuff and see if it works. And then you're like, wow, that was really cool. And what's cool about this little demo here is that if you stand there for an hour, you will never hear the same banjo part.
Yeah.
But awesome. If you don't know that it was generated like that, you don't know it's like not really a banjo part. You don't know it's just samples being fired. I mean, maybe after a while you might start to catch on, but like there's that's an example of how, okay, I've got these stems, I've got 20 stems, right, which took X amount of time in the studio and cost money to record in theory, right? So, but then how can I accentuate that and expand this by 3 hours without having to record 16 hours of trumpet?
Yeah.
And then so you can go, okay, so I've got the core stems that support 60% of the music, and then I've got this generative banjo part that's going to fill in the rest. And then you've got this combination of of problem solving. So you just solved your problem. So I can't give you 17 hours of music, nor do you want to pay me $1,000 a minute for, 17 hours of music. So it's like, but I can give you an hour of music that you can stretch out for 10 hours, right? Yeah. There's tremendous value in that. And when you talk about a industry where it's hard to get a job in, who you going to hire? You going to hire the guy that saves you $75,000, or are you going to hire the guy that cost you $100,000? Right. So like, I think being able to approach the whole thing holistically, I think will always add value to your personal brand, as a composer, as an audio person. That's a tangent, but I thought I should get that in there.
No, it's good.
In today's market.
I'd add to that, part of the point of prototyping is finding things that don't work as well.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Yeah. Finding your limitations and saying, oh, I had this fantastic idea. It's going to be amazing. And then you get in there and it's like, except for that one thing that's just going to just derail the whole thing. Right. And knowing that and making a note of that and saying, okay, now I have to pivot. I have to work around that. I have to find a new solution. Yeah. If you were just like, all right, well, I'll just wait until the end of production when the game's made, and then I've got this idea for a music system, and it'll probably work. So we'll just have all of our music composed by then, and hope for the best, right? It's like that's going to be a disaster, right? So getting in there early, even if it's like this is a kind of cheesy little mock-up. It's not indicative of what's going to be final in the game, but it's proving out the system, right? Yeah. Or proving the system won't work.
Sean brings up an interesting point, which is, what is the value of procedural design, right? I think...
Sure.
And I think that there is a certain level of detail that may go unnoticed. It's really difficult to say. I think there's a kind of ignorance that a lot of folks have about, just players or just your sort of general player off the street has about these sorts of designs. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not that they notice or think that they care, but maybe they do feel one is more repetitive or gets annoying or something.
It's subliminal, right?
There's a lot of unconscious sort of responses to some of this stuff.
It's funny because it's such a hard question to answer, but when I'm working on something, my ultimate goal is how long can I get people to not mute this thing?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been games where be like, oh yeah, this is cool. I like the music. But then after you've played for an hour, it's like, okay,
screw this.
I've heard this loop multiple times now, and it's stuck in my head. And now it's it's making me crazy. And that's when people are going to, like you said, reach for the mute button.
Sometimes procedural design can be like that too, because sometimes the procedural design itself ends up being shallow in terms
too vague, right? There's nothing to grab onto there.
Yeah. Or there's no development because it.
Right. It just meanders everywhere.
Yeah.
So something that's got me thinking as a composer is Breath of the Wild. And so there's a couple things about Breath of the Wild that shocked me. And the two things were, one, there's not a lot of music in the game, right? You spend a lot of time with just ambient sound design, hashtag soundscapes, Dan, good job. And then there's really quirky music in this thing, right? It's really not what I expected.
Yeah.
But the thing that I have come to appreciate is that I never mute it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, and I haven't figured out exactly why, but whatever they accomplished is what I want to bottle and, put in a bottle and I think a lot of it is silence, right? It's it doesn't get old, and it does. And I mean, we're talking about a game that takes 20 hours to play, right? So that's an interesting concept as far as, and genre has a big part of it, right? But how do you balance as a game designer, as an audio director, as a composer writing for games? How do you balance knowing where that line is?
Yeah, one of the I don't know how no, I don't know how much I can talk about with it. I want to talk about Lego Fortnite a little bit because I wrote the original music system for Lego Fortnite, and it was now
No
called
big
Lego,
deal. No big deal.
Lego Odyssey.
NBD.
It's conceptual, so it's basically like, you know, there's a lot of ambience in that the music presentation there.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I worked with the audio director on, Ethan Halverson, was building in a per cue cooldown mechanism.
Yes.
So in other words, like there might be like 5 ambient cues. They're all one-shot designed. They're like 3 to 4 minutes long.
Okay.
They're triggered by time of day.
Okay.
And then they have per cue, like you might have like 5, say, per biome. And the per cue,
like a playlist, little 5-song
yeah,
playlist.
little playlist, yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh, you're in the desert, so it's like these cues or whatever. And then like the cooldown mechanism is like could be very long. Like you could dial in like I want multiple game days to pass before you hear this cue again, which could be like hours later on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and I think that was, you know, it wasn't a very complex idea. It was just like, hey, we've got, you know, these ambient sort of droney kind of music cues that have these textures, and like that Ethan and Austin Wintory spent a lot of time on developing the textures for this, for the sound of it, right? And like they were in pre-production for a long time, trying to nail what they felt was the sound of that product, the game.
Yeah.
And so they're very understated in terms of the presentation. So you don't hear the same, you know, you don't hear repetition because it could be like a whole play session goes by, you know, hear just because they take so long, they recede into the background, they disappear. It's just ambience for a long while, and then you get this sort of sparseness as a result. And I think that's similar to my experience playing Breath of the Wild, especially in the overworld areas. I know we lost James's camera.
Man, wow, you guys are dropping like flies, bro.
Something about this Seattle weather, maybe. I don't know.
Jeez.
I have another.
I'm here.
Oh yeah, okay.
He rises from the ashes.
I do have some examples of more structured cues that I could show. The sort of meta sound design around something a little bit more structured, not sort of procedurally generated, if that is of interest to people. I'm taking silence as no objection.
I mean, I'm always down for that.
All right. This is a demo that I've made previously for like Unreal Fest and conferences and stuff like that. So this is a cue that I use a lot, just sort of to build, to demonstrate what I sometimes call like layers and slices.
Yeah.
Style,
can you go full
right?
screen?
Yeah. And so this is a cue that has an intro segment, and then it goes to a loop segment, and then has an outro segment. It has a sort of what I call an accent, but it's basically like a stinger that is like a drum roll. That's beat synchronized drum roll,
like a riser.
It's more like a hit, like an impact.
Gotcha.
So that's why I call it an accent. And then I have a stinger, which is more like a thematic element that is locked to the bar phase. So it always happens on the beat 3 when you call for it. So it'll sort of like, there's a little bit of a delay. I've used it in other demos. If you're familiar with my YouTube channel, you've probably heard this before. And it has 2 layers. And so I thought it'd be interesting to sort of look at how I've structured this. I am using the harmonics plugin. So
yes, beautiful.
If you're making music with Metasounds, a music system or music design in Metasounds, it's worth just activating the harmonics plugin. There's a lot of really great music making utilities there.
That's funny. While I was building my banjo sample, that was before harmonics.
Yeah.
It was like 5.2, and then I think harmonics came out in 5.3, maybe
5.4.
5.4. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, all that crap I just did, and now now I've got a sampler.
Yeah, I mean it's I was doing the same thing, right? Like that was, but it simplifies, consolidates some of the nodes. So like for example, here I have my like main clock and
MIDI clock.
And so what this goes into, so this is basically a really common pattern that you'll see for just clock generation.
Yep.
And this is actually MIDI clock. It's MIDI style data. Like the data is MIDI clock data.
Yes.
And this node is a generator, so it will synthesize MIDI clock time. And you can make it like a simple loop. But basically what I'm getting here is I'm getting bars and beats at 90 BPM, and I'm saving this as a variable so that I can reference
access
it
anywhere.
in other parts of my graph. And then I have.
If you want to go outside of this Metasound, how can you grab that clock?
You can promote it to an output. Oh God, that's tiny.
Is it frame accurate when you do that?
Well,
I guess MIDI accurate.
Well, when the clock output read by gameplay is going to be delayed because
of the game stuff.
Because you're in different threads, and the game, it's gonna be you're crossing thread boundaries. So
if you had multiple MIDI Metasounds, you would quartz clock sync them and then have separate MIDI clocks.
You could do that. The music clock component, which is part of the harmonics setup, allows you to tune like a pre-delay.
Gotcha.
And so you can synchronize the music clock component to a meta sound, and then the meta sound, just like the way I've done it here. And you can get bars and beats. If there's time, I could actually demonstrate it for you live. I just try to. That's dangerous last words, but yeah. So I have
not be time.
I have a low intensity layer and a high intensity layer. I'm not hip on how I organize the stems. Like in retrospect, I think I probably should have organized them differently.
Well, at least use comments with colors. Yeah.
I made some sub patches where this is the intro. This is basically the intro to a round robin stereo player. And so the idea here is that, unlike I don't want to. I'm not using loops. I'm using stems with tails, and so so
you're round robin which ones play.
Yeah, exactly.
So the tails continue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's an important feature. I mean, that's an important. A lot of people, especially newbies, they start with one wave player and they're like, my ends are getting cut off.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, bro, of course. You gotta cover your ends, man. You need dual wave players, bro.
Yeah. Quote. Yeah, there's the clip right there. You gotta cover your ends, bro.
Cover your ends, bro.
So I sort of bundled the intro and loop into like a sub patch here. Nice. And I think maybe if I were to do it again, I maybe do it at the top level, separate sub patches.
You always want to separate,
yeah. And then I have this is, by the way, this is a great difference. But both of our meta sounds are very specific to the cues. Yeah. Like the structure of the cues.
Yeah.
And so then this is one of those challenges I sort of mentioned really early on, which is like, are you building this for any music cue? Could you and what would that look like, and what changes would you have to make? Yeah. Anyway, and
then you have basically a template you're using to, from multiple cues. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I need these stems, and I need these layers, and I need these loops and whatnot.
But then you have to ask yourself, what constraints are you imposing on the creative flexibility when you've now put everything in a box? Yeah. Anyway, so then the ending are just wave players at the top level sitting out here. And I've got a lot of, let me pull this down here. I've got a lot of sort of cleaning up. I'm trying to keep the graph very clean looking.
Yeah,
and
you got
so
the
I've got these
variables
for my audio that goes to a mixer at the end here.
Yep, that's beautiful.
Yep. And that's where I'm doing volume control on the high and low levels and stuff like that. I've got a little separate input section so I can just control and audition the playback in this little section here. So it's like a little controller section. And then I have my accent, and then my stinger playback, and then this is the actual brains.
The stems, the chorus.
This is what manages what plays when.
Yeah.
And so here's what's going to happen is the MIDI clock starts generating on bar 1, beat 1. Let me zoom in a little bit. On bar 1, beat 1, this MIDI clock timestamp trigger will trigger output, and it'll start opening up an envelope. And this envelope is not going to be done until I call this trigger on end start. And when the sustain is triggered, it will it'll basically a little trigger manager here. And the release time is set to 1 bar.
So you're using that envelope filter as like a gate, basically?
Yeah, so it allows me to have a fade out at the very end and
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep. And then I have on bar 2, beat 1, I have this trigger, which starts my hold on a second. It opens up these gates. So in other words, I have the ending, I have the accent, and I have the stinger, and I don't want them to trigger before the intro is done.
Of course.
Right?
You're delaying those, yeah.
Yeah, so this is basically managing, this little trigger control is managing the trigger pass-through for triggering the end, an accent, or a stinger. And then the stinger has a cooldown.
Yes, very important.
Yeah, because it's long. It's like a long.
5 times.
Yeah, it's just a long melodic thing. Whereas the accent is okay. Is kind of okay to spam. But I am still gating the accent with this trigger once, so you can't have multiples come in the same.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah, and then
that's always a huge mess.
Yeah.
It becomes a race,
Yep. Yeah, so I just use that round robin player for the accents. So the drums will cut each other off if the tails overlap more than two iterations, but it's usually not noticeable.
What are you using for your sound sources, Dan?
Just wave files. So this is like a traditional
gotcha. Wave players. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a traditional,
So you're using the MIDI clock to fire the wave players.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we take a look, So
you're not using the harmonic sampler.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's the intro. This is the low intensity layer. And here's the high intensity layer. And
you wrote this?
I wrote this.
That's nice, dude.
Thanks. And then here's the main loop.
Oh yeah.
And then the high additive layer.
Nice.
And then the outro is anyway. So and then the accent is these sort of
little timpanis.
Drum rolls. Yeah. It's timpanis and quads.
Yeah, dude, that's sick.
And then the stinger is so the accent doesn't have layering, but the stinger does have low and high intensity layering, and it's low brass and high brass, doing a melody. And one of the sort of tricks of this is that if I randomly select element 0, I need to do it for both. So, but the arrays are ordered so that they work together, right?
They're paired up.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Nice. Ooh, that sounds good, dude.
Thanks. And then here's the sort of highs, which is just voice extensions. And
Octaves, yeah.
Okay, so if I go in and zoom in on my little input manager here, I can start playing, and we'll start with like low intensity here. So now we're in the low intensity loop.
Dang, that's low intensity. Y'all about to
it's
point, bro.
it's called it's for running. Yeah. So yeah. But here I have one with 3 layers, which I can show if you want to see another one. But this one I have an interp that is set to 2 bars long. So
the most misunderstood node in Metasounds.
This gives a gradual transition to sort of bring in the other layer.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is one of those things that you want to tune.
Nice.
So one of the books that I've most helpful in my opinion in terms of this sort of horizontal mixing approach, vertical mixing approach. Vertical mixing approach is Henry Mancini's Sounds and Scores book.
Oh, okay. I have his arranging book.
I think it's the same one, I think, right?
Dude, so good. It's intense.
There's a chapter on show music. So in other words, like if you're doing for like a live stage performances, and he goes through all these strategies for arranging the instruments when you don't know how big the ensemble's going to be, and you want it to still work. And those are really good strategies for creating voice extensions in like intensity layers and stuff like that. Anyway, so here's the accent.
Nice. So those get triggered by some random gameplay event.
Yeah, so exactly. And then what happens is they're gated. So see where I have this is the accent. Yeah. So here's the accent start. And I just have this subdivision trigger, which is
they're going on the downbeats,
This one's all on the eighth note grid. And so we've got 8 notes coming in. And then what happens is when I call in an accent trigger, it will open up this trigger once and pass this through, and then this will trigger the random selection and then play the thing, and then it'll go the signal will go out to the mixer. And so and you can kind of
when does that loop get reset? That gate gets reset right away.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah,
the trigger once just closes it right away.
And then
this one just is to prevent it from playing over the
from happening again.
And you can actually see.
That's so cool, dude. I mean,
through. This is quantization, right? So in other words, the accent trigger can come in any kind of game timing. I don't know when. It's but it'll then wait until the next pulse.
Yeah.
And then so then the stinger is sort of similar. So we have the stinger, except that I have a cooldown. So the stinger, you can see the subdivision trigger is on is a bar long trigger, and it's offset by 2. So in other words, it only can happen on beat 3 of the bar. And so you can see every beat 3, we sort of see the trigger pass through here. This is a really awesome node, by the way, to use for building these sorts of things. And then what will happen is it will go through this, and there'll be a 2.5 bar delay before it'll allow this to pass through again. So if you spam it, it won't re-trigger until that time has passed. So it's basically like a double gate. So let me play it. And if we bring in the, if we can do
so you said stinger. I was thinking it was going to end.
No. I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Okay. To me, in my world, stinger means it's over.
Yeah.
I think the word stinger means something different to every person on the planet somehow.
Well, now I see he has an input called end. I'm guessing
what
it does.
But originally I was on the same page with you. Stingers, like, that's at the end. That's how you kind of wrap up the song, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but Wise broke me of that because they use the word stinger in an entirely different context, which is
could be an acknowledgement, right? It's just it's like, oh, the player passed something or whatever, you know.
Yep.
Some hero theme comes in,
like a mile marker. Yeah.
So what is your distinction between accent and stinger then? Because they're both kind of beat synced.
Similar,
is it just the duration?
It's the duration.
Yeah. Okay.
Accent's definitely more subtle, right?
Yeah. It's a shorter little momentary thing.
Yeah, that's so cool, dude. I mean, it's so simple, but it's so cool.
Yeah. And some of this is the thinking about authoring like this. You know, there's a ramp up, you know, for this. So this would not necessarily coincide with an immediate event, maybe, but some event that maybe takes like just a little bit of time, you know. And so then, if I do the intensity, you can hear the melody with the other layers that are synchronized. And then the ending. Where are we at ending? Yeah, so it's similar setup, except that when we go to the end, where is the end? Where did I put the end? We trigger the end, and then when this is finished, I trigger that the end is finished, and that goes to our release, and we get a fade out. So this is bar synchronized.
Or you like those James Bond horns, man. You've definitely been listening to some Henry Mancini. And that's a huge compliment.
Thank you.
Nice job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But you can see that the cue will actually end itself. It'll call and end. It'll
trigger that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you something I forgot. That's like super cool.
Thank you. I have a.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. Yeah. So you know what's hilarious is that a lot of the meta, you know, there's two groups of people who are into meta sounds and people who are scared of meta sounds. they don't understand how freaking awesome it is.
You can be both.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
The cool thing about meta sounds, and I always say the trigger repeat is the core of the music system, but like all you're doing with these music systems to keep them in sync inside of meta sounds is creating pulses and opening and closing gates. Ultimately, that's and all of that cool stuff you just did comes down to musical pulses in time, in sync, inside of meta sound that opens and closes gates. And you can do so much with that basic concept.
But that what you just described could also be a description of music
in general.
Right? Like,
exactly. Notes that turn on and off. you know, it's funny, Dan, when I did my talk at GDC or Gamestown Con 2 years ago with Epic, it's like I started with like the only difference between like all music is procedural. It's just the more instructions it has, you know, the closer you get to like classical music, right? So like it's notes that turn on and turn off at a certain time. That's all music is. And then what instruments playing them.
We don't have Aaron on right now, which is
my gosh,
it's probably the best because if we go another hour,
this would this would take us to a whole different.
but you know, Aaron articulated really well when I first met him when we were chatting about music. This idea of cycles and like strong and weak pulses coinciding with like you know, stress and relief, and then we have all these sort of this off and on pattern, strong, weak, non-stressful, stressed, like this sort of this common like cycle, and even audio itself is a cycle. Like it's a wave cycle that happens with high pressure and low pressure, and this all the way from the micro to the macro. There's this common pattern to music, and it's really weird philosophical headspace to sort of put yourself into.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
But it can be really powerful in terms of thinking about composition at every level, right? From the note all the way up to, cue to cue to cue to cue. And I think thinking about that is a really great holistic way of imagining your music design. Right?
Yes, I agree completely. There's 12 notes.
There's 12 notes, right?
There's 12 notes, man.
We did talk about microtonalism, right?
Well, okay, let's
say
sitar guy over here.
No, I gotta go. Your tone rose out.
Yeah, it's so fascinating, and I do think it comes back to our desire as humans to make things more complicated than they need to be, right? Like a lot of time. I mean, how much time, Dan, in the forum, in the Unreal Discord forum specifically, are people trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Like trying to make things that we already have tools for, right? It's just like human nature to want to overcomplicate things, but in reality, it comes down to like just a couple core basic principles. A note that starts and stops at a certain time and has a certain timbre. I mean, that's pretty much all of music, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, one of the things I think, if anyone's sort of curious and want to start getting into meta sounds that aren't in meta sounds, there is a sort of temptation to feel like you're entering a space of complexity, and complexity is the solution, and it's not. It's the opposite. Anytime you're entering a space of complexity, simplicity is the solution.
Amen. Preach, brother Dan.
And it can be very difficult to, in the same way as like having a good vocabulary will help you be concise, terse, right? It's the same thing. Having experience and knowing the nodes, the library of tools. Obviously, the more experience you have there, the easier it's going to be for you to arrive at a concise solution, at a simple solution.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's it's also one of the things that I think modular synth people tend to get into it more, not just because it's very modular synth sort of. It has that sort of vocabulary. But like modular synthesis, there is a kind of invitation to explore. And to try something out and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that is the best attitude to go into meta sounds with.
Yeah.
Just be like, I don't know. Let me just try it out and see what happens.
Let's mess around, dude. Let's just mess around and see what happens.
Exactly. The button is called play.
That's funny. That is funny. No, it's not called work, is it?
No, yeah. Yeah. All right. This has been a lot of fun.
Well, I got another topic. If I can shift gears, if you want to talk for another couple of minutes, or if you want to call it, that's fine too.
I got time.
What do you got?
Okay. So let's step out of meta sounds and just talking about like a music system in general. Kind of going back to your original diagram, right? You have your music manager and whatnot. As far as I know, there's not a way in Blueprint to have a persistent object between level loads. So if you got your main menu music, and
you are
excellent.
Definitely mistaken, bro. Mistaken.
So okay, you can do that in Blueprint. I know you can do it with like in code. I know you can make a subsystem, but school me.
Yeah, so subsystems.
What kind of stuff are you talking about, James? Like what persisting? You talking about information, or are you talking about audio or what?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've got a music manager, right, it's effectively an actor, right? And it's like, you want that to exist both in your menu and also in your game.
Yeah.
Right. But as they're transitioning, it's basically unloading one and loading.
Persist on level, bro.
Yeah.
Persist over level changes.
Well,
is that?
Hold on there, cowboy.
Game state, baby. Game state.
Actually, didn't you just do a VO, Brian, on this?
I did.
Adding
audio components to the game state to access them via wherever you are, whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was a big problem, right?
Well, so I can describe the issue, but I do want to bring this up. This is a great video. It's just called int main to begin play. It's very code oriented, but what it does describe is everything that loads and its lifetimes between starting to run the application, the Unreal application, and when begin play gets called in your blueprints or your code.
Oh, I think I've actually seen this. But
so it's one of those ones that goes really fast. It's really dense, and you can watch it 100 times. But one of the things that is really useful is understanding lifetimes of Unreal game objects that are extend beyond the world. So in Unreal you have levels, and levels are worlds. And you have a persistent world, which is sort of the main world, okay? And one of the challenges that we have as audio designers in Unreal is that the audio device, which is the gameplay manager for the audio engine, it's just called the audio device. It's only accessible through world handles. So in other words, an audio device could have multiple worlds that it's servicing, but the world reference is the only way to access it. And so when you call play sound, it needs to know where to play the sound, which audio device instance should play the sound, because you can have many of them. If you're in Unreal Editor, there could be an editor world with its own audio device, and there could be a Pi world or play an editor world with its own audio device, or through editor settings, they could share an audio device. And the editor world one is used for previewing from the content browser. That's how sound it just renders through a version of the engine. In fact, it's exactly like your project, so it actually mimics the normal signal flow that you would expect in games. And then the Pi world could reference to the same one or a different, or you could have a multi-client audition where you've got a whole bunch of clients and then how audio devices for all the clients. And so what happens is the world becomes a handle to the audio device. So when you call any of the gameplay statics functions, and this is, I call it this because there's a ginormous code file called gameplay statics, and it's basically this massive gameplay static function library. And a static function library just means a global function library. That's what that means. And so they're all the friendly calls you're familiar with: play sound at location, spawn sound attached. Those. They all have a hidden input that wants a world context object. And so in Unreal, if you've got a blueprint, if you're calling a blueprint function like this in something that has an obvious world, is lives in a specific world, like an actor class, then you'll see, and I don't know if I could bring it up if it helps, but you won't see an input for the world context. It'll be hidden. It's a hidden input for the world context object, and that world context object refers to the act. So if you're calling from an actor, it'll refer to the actor and it'll ask the actor what world do you live in, and then it'll use that world reference to then tell the audio device, hey, play this sound. And it will also list that actor as the owner for that sound. So if you look at your debug screen under owner, it'll list that actor as the sound, and that the actor, and I mean the actor instance. Right?
Yeah.
So but objects may or may not have a world, and things like a game. What I use often is the game instance might not have a world, and so or if you create a function like a blueprint function library, there is no world. Like it can be called from anywhere. So the world context object pin will actually be exposed for those functions in those spaces, and that'll require some kind of object that has a world reference in order to play the sound successfully. So,
are you following, James? Are you following?
Yeah, I mean a fair amount of it, but I mean,
I'm working my way to your question. I'm working my way to the question. Okay.
I recognize a lot of those words. Pretty sure they're English. Yeah,
English, right? Yeah.
No, I follow to a certain degree. I'm not familiar with hidden pins, so I'm curious how you access a hidden pin. But
you wouldn't. But hold on. I'm working the way to your question. I'm trying to provide context.
Good Lord.
Should we do this next week? I mean, we can.
I got 9 more questions.
No. It's really good that you bring this up because it is the kind of thing that always happens with music systems. That people don't know about this issue. And so what the issue is this. Unreal code, the code base for Unreal, was built before .NET. Okay, so you've heard of C# and .NET, and what's cool about C# and .NET is that it's what's called a managed language, which means that the memory is managed by a higher level system. If you're just code in raw C++, you have to do the memory management yourself as the programmer. Okay. Unreal has a memory management scheme.
Little trash cleanup.
Yeah, exactly. And we call it garbage collection. And what this allows you to do is just like if you have a object reference and you null it out, it will eventually find this. You're like littering on the flip, so you're just like throwing it out the window.
Yeah, we would never do that, Dan. We would never do that.
I'm done with this object. And then what happens is garbage collection is coming by every once in a while. It's amortized. It's not every frame. Because it's expensive, and it has it's like a cluster. Amortized. It's a cluster system. So it's going to be looking at different chunks of the audio of the memory space at every time it checks. So what could happen is, especially in Pi, this might be a little bit longer. You could spawn a sound, spawn a sound at location. And it'll give you a little audio component reference. And if you do not do anything with that output pin, if you do not cache that output pin, then that audio component becomes orphaned. It doesn't have anything referencing it. And so any U object, which is all your blueprints and almost all of your blueprint object types, not your structs, any U object that is that no other U object has a reference to is considered trash, basically. Yeah. And so garbage collection will come and clean it up. And what happens sometimes is when people are starting out with Unreal, they may play a sound on call this function, not cache the reference to the audio component, and then garbage collection will be like, no one's using this. And then it'll destroy it. Yeah. But on destroying it, it will stop the sound. Right. And so they're like, "Why am my sound getting cut off? After 30 seconds or after 20 seconds?" That's garbage collection. And so what's important to understand is that audio components are like remote controls for the rendered sound. So you have an audio component. The audio component itself is not playing the sound. You have the sound rendering on the audio render thread separately. And it's called a audio mixer source.
So you need access to it.
So what happens is it's a safety issue. If you have the audio component is supposed to be this handle to a render source. If you destroy the audio component, the audio engine will stop the render source. Otherwise, it'll just persist forever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So that's
no bueno.
Yeah, that's not. We don't want any of that.
Yeah.
And this can happen, by the way, if you play sound at location that is.
I swear he's gonna answer your question.
If you play sound,
promise to God.
No. If you play sound, like if you just call play sound at location, and it's
I
looping
feel like I'm watching one of Dan's videos.
You started this.
I'm sorry.
You knew who you were talking
asked
to.
the question, James. Thank you.
If
You bastard.
You guys let me in, man. That was your fault.
If you
First
play
the earth cooled, then the dinosaurs came.
if you play a sound at location and it's looping, then it will never be. You can't stop it, and you'll get a warning in the log. It'll be like, "Hey, orphan sound play." So, okay, so now you have this schema. You understand. If we have an audio component, it's a handle to a sound. Like say our music is playing.
Okay.
It's a handle, and when you call a level transition, everything gets destroyed. It just
gone,
flushes
like
all
the
memory.
wind, baby.
Yeah, and so what happens is the audio component that was living in the world is also destroyed, and so then as a consequence, we stop it. So there's a flag on the audio component that says, "Hey, don't." In fact, actually, I should amend. The audio, all the audio scene is destroyed as a safety measure. So it's not waiting for audio components to tell it to be destroyed. It's like, hey, we're changing level. Let's just kill all the audio.
Wipe everything, right?
Wipe it
Just
all out.
get rid of all of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there might be stuff that's playing that doesn't have an audio component, right? We want to kill it all. And so so what happens is you need to communicate. Okay, first this sound must not be destroyed. So you have to sort of opt into preserving the sound across this flush, this memory flush. But then the audio component still gets destroyed because it's in the world, and so you need to have an object reference to the audio component that in an object, in a U object that persists beyond level shift. So in other words, it's a two-step mechanism. You have to have
you're sticking it to the man, basically.
You have to tell the sound not to get destroyed when the level changes, and you have to preserve the audio component across the level change.
Right.
And so the blueprint objects that are persist are things like the game mode, I think is what you said, Brian, and you like to use.
Game state.
Game state. The game instance is what I like to use.
Game instance. One of them replicates. Yeah.
So that's usually the way. And if I was building a music system with code, I might I could build everything in blueprints and just have the one game instance subsystem to sort of handle the transition stuff. And if we were to look at my diagram again, the active player, I might do something where I actually just pass the audio component through the high level manager and destroy the active player, and then when the world realizes again, I might have the active play a fresh active player, and then just pass the audio component back to it so it can continue to do its thing.
Wouldn't destroying your active player though immediately stop whatever it's playing?
No, not necessarily. Not if it lives on the game.
If the audio component reference is still managed, but it's still held.
Oh, I see. Right.
Right.
We haven't destroyed the controller for.
The audio component persists. The actor will go away. So
we're using the project I'm working on. We're using gameplay abilities, right? And so one of the abilities is the music ability, right? And so you're grabbing these the references are living on the game state. But you're grabbing those references and you can do all sorts of stuff to them, right? And if your level changes, they're still playing or they're still active.
Sure.
And then you can grab back the references if you respawn or if you die or if you whatever. And you grab back the references and go, hey, are you still playing? If you're still playing, do this thing.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
It was super powerful.
Yeah, and this is, and you get all that, just even the basic stuff where it's like, hey, I'm just going to the menu, Let me go.
That's all I want to do.
And the music still plays. If you look at Project Lyra, we do this. So Project Lyra is an example of this, where the music is actually it just plays one music cue the entire game session, and there's a menu mode in the meta sound that plays different or additive music, and then a game mode that just switches over when you start the match. So Project Lyre could be another one to look at as like a sort of example of this.
That one's a doozy. That's a doozy, though. That is a doozy.
Yeah, it's not your grandma's sample.
Not for the faint of heart, right?
That's right.
Cool.
You know, essentially though, yeah, it is. It's like it's all about the reference, right, to the audio.
Yeah.
If you have the reference and it's still alive and it's persisting over level loads, then you can do whatever you want to it.
Right.
You just have to grab the reference back from it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I didn't know that was how another way you could do that. So that's
got a little history lesson at the same time.
I got a very long.
We got an awesome history lesson.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Awesome. Thanks for joining in the middle of this. James was right.
I guess David never got his shoes. So.
David.
Yeah.
Dave never got. He'll figure it
Well,
out.
but I mean, isn't it like 4 a.m. for him or something? Or wait, no, it's the other direction.
It's excuses.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the middle of the afternoon now, something.
Yeah.
Anyway, next week is American Thanksgiving, so I won't be doing a stream then. But
yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, to the Americans. Sorry, everyone else.
To the Americans, fuck everyone else.
Well, you know, anyone can be thankful. Dan.
Typical American.
It's a good reminder to be thankful. You know, it's easy to feel, you know, negative about lots of things, you know, life in general, especially in the gaming industry, so many negative things happening. But at the end of the day, there's so many good things to be thankful for, right?
Yeah. It can be difficult, but it's a good practice to acknowledge the things that are going really well for you. And it's kind of amazing that any of us get to work in this industry.
Dude, it is. It is.
Well, you know,
it's a blessing. Well, you know, you'll have your time's coming, James.
it will be amazing.
Some of us
it
are
is a
between jobs
freaking
right now.
carousel. It's a carousel, and it never stops. It's like that old Extreme song. Yeah, it's a carousel. But you know, I always say this: some days you're the hammer, and some days you're the nail. You know?
I'm on the nail a lot lately.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
I think maybe anything that you can be thankful for, James, is even more important in these harder times. So
that's true. There's always stuff to be thankful for. That's true.
It can always. My dad used to always, still does tell me he's still alive. I didn't want to make sure, like, my dad passed away. No, my dad's awesome. He used to always tell me it could always get worse. It could always be worse.
I mean, if I've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's like, that's the constant. Is it?
Yeah.
It can, and
it
probably
can.
and probably will.
Yeah.
But then I guess it could always be better.
Yeah.
Too.
Well,
So-
Right.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
a
that's one
roller
good way to
coaster.
look at it. Yep.
Life is a highway.
Life is
Right.
a highway. You know what? I want to.
We could have just all sung out on that and just like slow fade into the background. Maybe that's how you do sign off from now on.
Get a YouTube strike. Get a YouTube strike.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't think with my sense of pitch, I don't think so. It will be safe.
Oh,
That just makes it more endearing.
All right.
Well, thanks for having us,
thanks.
Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
man.
thanks, Dan. Thanks for putting these on.
Thanksgiving, everybody.
Hope everyone has a good. If you get a holiday, great. If obviously James has some time off, so yeah. enjoy
Dark.
Oh, James has got plenty of time.
All right. See you, everyone.
Later, guys.